Alrighty, fellas, mildly spicy video today. Maybe yes, maybe no. I saw someone post in a story somewhere. I don't even remember who, but they were talking about, it was something along the lines of like, why are the top drug tested lifters like in the mix with enhanced lifters, right? And I thought this would be a pretty cool or interesting question to try to answer. I have a lot of things to say, and I feel like I have a lot of experience in this area. Just because, I've been around a lot of athletes, like non-powerlifting athletes, like playing football and just being around like really insane genetic freaks. And then thinking about powerlifting and like what it is and the people that compete in lifting, I feel like I can give a pretty good answer to this question. So the question is, why do we see the top natural lifters in the mix? Some are better than others, some are just behind them, but they're close, right? With some top enhanced lifters. I have many lifters myself that are natural. Obviously, they compete in drug tested federations. I don't want to get into that because there's going to be people that no matter what you do, no matter how many tests they pass, blood test, middle of the night test, it doesn't matter. They're never going to believe it. So there's just no point in dealing with those people. But it's funny, a lot of guys, including like John Hack, will tell you, if you ask them, hey, do you think the guys in the IPF are natty? They're going to be like, yeah, like for the most part, I think absolutely yes. The people that pop in the IPF usually they're not even like that good, which is weird. It doesn't make sense to me. The only time I can think of a top lifter or somebody that won popping, I think it was way back in maybe 2015 or 2016. I don't know. It was when Brett Gibbs, no, it wasn't 2016. It was 2015, I think. Possibly 2014. But Brett Gibbs like got second to some guy who ended up popping, and that was like crazy because he won after the fact. Like that was nuts. But anyway, so top natty guys hanging with top enhanced guys. Well, a couple things. If you think about somebody who is a strong, like a top of the food chain, very genetically gifted, and works really hard and has an easy time building muscle. They don't even need to be like top of the line genetics. They just need to be like above average, right? Because powerlifting isn't the biggest pool. It's not. I'll tell you guys right now, there's football players I've been around that have like high-end powerlifting numbers and they don't even train powerlifting. Like this, like we do it, like we did it, squat, bench, deadlift, power cleans, overhead press, and a lot of other stuff. But it wasn't like our priority, like a powerlifter, right? And if you have someone that is in powerlifting and maybe they were a former athlete, but they just fell a little bit short, so they got into something to keep their competitive edge, something that was fun for them, so they get into powerlifting, right? They're going to have a lot of the characteristics of those incredible athletes at other sports, and a lot of what being a top lifter is having the right mindset, right? Let's just simplify it. You got to have the right mindset. It affects every single aspect of everything that you're doing, right? So those guys are already going to have their mind right. They might have a little bit above average genetics, and they're going to respond really well and get very, very strong. They're going to stay, tested, and they're going to perform really, really well. Now the guy, and they get really good results from training and building muscle, and they never really ever thought to take any substances because they never had a problem building muscle in the first place. They just respond really well to training. They didn't feel like it was something that they needed. Why would they go down that road when their body's giving it to them, naturally, right? Or very, very close to it. There are bodybuilders that are on stuff that don't even come close to looking as good as Russ or being as like complete as Russ, right? That's just one example, right? There's a lot of other lifters I could name that like they're very strong. They have like really good physique and they just like they work really, really hard. So again, they never really think to take steroids because they already get a really good response from training. Now you have other guys that maybe like I'm not saying everybody's like this. Every single thing that I say, there's always going to be exceptions. I'm just like throwing a scenario to try to explain this question that we're trying to answer, right? So if you look at other guys, if you take a random person that just gets into lifting and they decide to take a bunch of steroids, and they might get up to those really, really high levels, but they're doing it with the use of, extra hormones, right? You're taking somebody from the middle of the pack, like average genetics, right? Possibly below average genetics, and you're giving them these substances that are helping them perform at a higher level. Now, if you want to get into it, they're competing on deadlift bars, they're competing on squat bars, they're competing with 24-hour weigh-ins. They're able to use substances to help them make weight. They're able to use substances to help them perform. There's a lot of things that they can do to lift more weight than a natural person on a 2-hour weigh-in, right? So when people say, oh, these natural lifters are suspect, it's just a lack of knowledge. Like, there's so many things that are missing. If you want to look at a living example right now, John Hack was the best lifter in the world naturally at one point in time, right? And then he decided to move over, and he is still literally one of the best lifters in the world, because you took someone who was already good at something naturally, they built a good base, and they got to the highest level, right? And then they decided to, supercharge themselves, possibly, allegedly, who knows, right? And they're still at the top, right? And that's pretty much how it goes, right? That's pretty much how it's going to be. You're not going to take someone who's average with juice and have them beat someone who's above average with juice. Like, it just doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? They're probably going to respond even better than an average person. So if you think of it from that perspective, you have like a below the average, physique, and you, again, I'm not calling anyone out specifically. I don't really, like, if somebody gets offended by this, it's just a fucking video for educational purposes, or just, it's edutainment. I'm just trying to give my take. This is all my opinion. And I'm just trying to give some reasons. Again, there's going to be other people. There's a guy named Malik Durstein, I believe his name was. He was an IPF lifter equipped. He ended up going, untested, and he was insane. He was absolutely fucking insane. One of the best in the world. Yuri Belkin. I don't even know. I mean, I'm assuming that guy might use stuff, but maybe he doesn't. But he was an IPF lifter. He was a 220 beast, right? And then he moved over, and he was obviously one of the best lifters in the world. Like, there's so many guys that were like that. They were IPF lifters. They were extremely good. And then they move over to the other side, and they still remained extremely good. Those are some big names that I dropped. I'm sure there are other enhanced lifters that were pretty good naturally that decided to hop on, and now they're just like take it to a whole another level. So, and that's why I really feel like if people are thinking to use substances, either they're after something crazy, like John Hack, I believe he wants to be the greatest lifter ever, like of all time, regardless of weight class, anything, like overall strongest, just the amount of weight lifted by a human. So he chose to go the route that he went. Other people, they want to stay tested. They might want to do untested, whatever. Everybody has their own goal. But all I'm saying is, if you are born with the natural ability to build muscle and get strong and you're athletic already, you're probably not going to think to use steroids unless you have a specific goal. If you aren't, and you really want that, you have really bad genetics or you have subpar genetics, which is crazy because even if you have like not so good genetics or building muscle, you could still get shredded as fuck regardless and look pretty fucking crazy, right? You could still make yourself look big. It's all an illusion at the end of the day, right? By simply just getting lean, right? So it's like, it just depends on what people want. If somebody wants to be big and strong and they want to take some juice or whatever, a lot of people, it's a cultural thing. That's their thing. I'm never going to push people to do that. And I personally just think about health first, and I wouldn't want people to do that. But at the end of the day, I respect people's decision as their body. I know too many friends. I have too many friends, literal people that I know that went that path when I started powerlifting 2012, 2013, and they're dead now. I don't like that, right? I don't know what's going to happen, and nobody can a lot of the times it's just like blindside. You have no idea. Boom, they have a problem. Boom, they're dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a tough thing. So I don't want to get into that. It's a whole nother video. But going back to what my main point of this whole thing is, you have a somebody who really just responds well to training, so they don't feel like they have the need to use steroids because they already have a natural advantage. And then you have other people that don't, and they really want that. So they go down that route to enhance themselves. Both sides work really hard, right? Can work hard. I just put in my story the other day a video of Larry Wheels saying that when you're on the juice, you can cut corners here. You can, maybe not be so much on point here. You can skip training here. And the steroids are going to carry you through, right? I shouldn't say the S word because I don't want YouTube to get me in trouble. You know what I'm saying? The enhancements, and it's just one of those things. When you think about it, it doesn't sound that far-fetched. It doesn't sound that crazy. It's like, yeah, you got a guy that really, he wants to be big and strong. His body's not giving that to him naturally. So he might seek to use other methods. A lot of guys, it's a psychological thing. They're not confident. And that extra substance gives them that confidence. You know what I'm saying? I've had personal talks with bodybuilders that have told me what it feels like to not be on. And it's a very, it's a shocking thing. It's insane. It's not just a physical gain. It's a psychological gain. It's absolutely insane. The benefits, they're like short term, right? So maybe it's not a benefit. Anyway, I think that's really like what I kind of see as, well, one, the talent pool is getting better, right? People are getting better over time. The training methods are getting better. Lifters are being more durable because they're training smarter, right? More people are getting into the sport. Social media is literally blowing everything up. And then, people that already get really good results from training and they don't feel like they have a limit because they keep getting stronger over years and years and years, they're probably not going to look to use any substance. People that don't, they might use substances, they might compete untested, and they'll get stronger, but they're getting stronger and they're trying to push their body in a way where other people would have gotten that strong naturally just because they respond to training well. Like, they just have a better genetic predisposition to that stimulus. Of course, there's a mindset thing. There are some lifters that have, kind of average genetics, but they have worked their fucking ass off and they do better than a lot of untested guys, right? So I thought it was an interesting sort of idea or question. And I just wanted to come on here and give my take as to why that might happen. I believe there was a video by Dr. Mike Israetel from RP, Renaissance Periodization, I think it's called. And he was talking about, guys that are strong naturally, if a guy takes substances, it might not make them that strong naturally. And a lot of the, natty guys are pushing up on the untested records and stuff like that. And he goes into detail. I don't even remember the video, but I know he has a video on his channel about this exact thing. And I think he references Ray Williams in it. But yeah, guys. Damn, I can go down a rabbit hole. I could talk about training methods and the culture behind training a certain way and using substances versus training naturally and doing other things. And there's some techniques that I do in my training with my guys that kind of mimics the stimulus of not it's never going to be just as good as taking something, but it's similar. For a natural lifter, you got to use your training and nutrition to do the best that you can to be as anabolic as possible, as many hours in the week that you can. So anyway, that's my take on it. That's just just an idea that I thought of. If I had to justify it, maybe it's that. It could be a cultural thing, genetic thing. I don't know. There's a lot of different reasons. Some guys, maybe they have a lifestyle where they can thrive if they use a little bit, but if they don't, then, it's very difficult for them to do anything. I don't know. So yeah, anyway, I thought that was a little interesting thing for you guys. If you guys have any interesting commentary, if you would like to provide feedback or just kind of let me know what you think too. If there's any super interesting comments, I'll put them in my story. But yeah, fellas, have a good one. See you guys in the next one. Peace.